Every day, every hour, and every minute, inside a government facility in Washington, D.C., paper is being turned into money. And no, this is not a metaphor. This is literally happening. Massive machines run 24/7 to keep up with demand, printing more than $500 million into the U.S. economy every single day. But there's a part most people don't notice. That printed money is actually a very, very small portion of the money being created, because today most money isn't printed at all. It doesn't even touch paper. It exists only digitally on screens. And the amount of this digital money increases by more than $4 billion every day. Now stop for a moment and really think about this. Where does all this money actually come from? Who creates it? And if there has never been more money in history, why are so many people still struggling financially? Before money reaches your bank account, it changes hands many times. From people to companies, from companies to governments, and from governments back to banks. And at some point, it all starts with a few numbers typed into a computer. We modeled the system from beginning to end, not with confusing economic terminology, but in a way that can truly be understood. To show how money really works, why prices keep rising, why debt feels unavoidable, and how this system shapes our lives. But to understand all of this, we need to go back a little, to a time when money didn't even exist. Imagine a farmer thousands of years ago. He needs a new tool to work his land. So he goes to the local toolmaker. But there's a problem. He has nothing he can give right now. No money, no goods, nothing. Instead, he makes a promise. "I can't pay you now, but I'll pay you later," he says. And the toolmaker accepts. Why? Because he trusts him. 2 weeks later, the farmer comes back and pays his debt with food from his farm. So what was actually exchanged here? Not money, not gold, not even food at first. Trust. As societies grew, trade needed to become faster and easier. Promises worked, but only when people knew each other. So people began using things that everyone needed. Cattle, grain, salt. These things were valuable because they were both necessary and hard to obtain. Now the farmer could buy a tool immediately and give a precise amount of grain in return that seemed like a fair exchange. This sped up trade, and both sides walked away with something valuable. But as trade expanded, this system also became insufficient. Who wants to carry sacks of grain or animals everywhere? That's when people turned to metals like gold and silver. They were small, durable, rare, and everyone agreed they were valuable. Trade exploded. Goods began moving from China to Europe, from the Middle East to Africa. Global trade had truly begun. But a new problem appeared. Gold was heavy, dangerous to transport, and it made you a target. And this is where the fate of money changed. In 17th century London, people began depositing their gold with trusted goldsmiths. In return, they received a piece of paper. This paper said, "You can come back and reclaim your gold at any time." The paper itself had no value. You couldn't eat it. You couldn't use it. But everyone trusted it. Before long, people realized something important. Instead of retrieving their gold, they could use this paper directly in trade. The paper became as good as gold. Then the goldsmiths noticed something else. Almost no one was coming back to reclaim their gold. And they asked themselves a dangerous question. What if we issue more paper than the gold we actually have? And that's exactly what they did. Without moving a single piece of gold, they began issuing additional "I owe us." They put money into circulation that didn't really exist. When someone wanted to borrow 100 gold coins, the goldsmith didn't lose anything from his vault. He simply wrote a piece of paper worth 100 gold coins. That money was spent. It circulated through the economy, and later it returned with interest. Suddenly there was more money in the system than actually existed. As long as not everyone demanded their gold at the same time, the system worked. Sound familiar? Replace goldsmiths with banks and paper notes with digital money, and you arrive at today's monetary system. Today almost everything is digital. Money, shopping, is work, even you. Your personal data is bought and sold every day. Your habits, your location, your interests. But let's return to the main topic. Most people think banks store their money. But that's not the case. When you deposit money in a bank, the bank doesn't protect it. It borrows it from you. The numbers you see in your bank account are not stacks of cash sitting in a vault. They are a digital record of the bank's debt to you. When you take out a loan, the situation is reversed. The bank lends money to you. And that money didn't exist before. The bank simply writes new numbers into your account. You buy a car with it. The dealership pays its employees. They shop, pay rent, and invest. Money circulates. And every time it circulates, value is created. Companies grow. Technology advances. Society progresses. None of this would happen if new money didn't enter the system. But there's a problem. Money doesn't enter the system equally. Those who get access to new money first are governments, banks, and large institutions. They spend it before prices rise. They buy stocks. They buy real estate. By the time that money reaches ordinary people, prices have already increased. This is called the Cantillon Effect. That's why, despite there being more money than ever in history, most people feel poorer. Your salary increases, but rent rises faster. Your money sits in the bank, but its purchasing power slowly erodes. Doing nothing becomes risky, so people are pushed into debt, forced to invest, forced to take risks. Debt is no longer the exception, it's normal. Student loans, credit cards, mortgages, car loans. The price of participating in modern life is debt. And once you enter this system, it's hard to get out, because interest never stops. It keeps growing. That's why economies must constantly grow. More consumption, more production, more debt. A system built on debt cannot slow down. When it does, a crisis follows. Markets collapse, banks fail, governments step in. And what's the solution? Create more money. Which brings us right back to the beginning. So, is this system bad? Not necessarily. It's powerful. It builds civilizations. It enables progress, but it's inefficient. If newly created money were directed toward education, infrastructure, innovation, and real productivity, much greater long-term gains could be achieved. Instead, we often get speculation, debt, and bubbles. That's why understanding this system matters. Because once you understand how money is created, your view of the world changes. Prices, debt, and inflation no longer seem random. And now I'll ask you this. If you made it this far, write this in the comments. What surprised you the most about the monetary system? Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.